Backflow Prevention Assembly Tester Certification Actual Exam. Question 1. Which type of backflow occurs when the pressure in the supply line drops below the pressure in the downstream system? Option A, back pressure. Option B, back siphonage. Option C, forward flow. Option D, static pressure. The correct answer is option B, back siphonage. Back siphonage is caused by negative or reduced pressure in the supply piping, effectively sucking water backward. Question 2. What is the minimum requirement for an air gap separation to be considered an approved backflow preventative? Option A, 1 inch or twice the diameter of the supply pipe, whichever is greater. Option B, 6 inches. Option C, exactly 12 inches above the flood rim. Option D, the same diameter as the pipe. The correct answer is option A, 1 inch or twice the diameter of the supply pipe, whichever is greater. An air gap must be at least twice the diameter of the supply pipe, measured vertically from the end of the pipe to the flood level rim. Question 3. Which backflow prevention assembly is required for a high hazard, health hazard, connection where back pressure may occur? Option A, double check valve assembly, DC. Option B, reduced pressure principal assembly, RP. Option C, pressure vacuum breaker, PVB. Option D, atmospheric vacuum breaker, AVB. The correct answer is option B, reduced pressure principal assembly, RP. The RP is the only mechanical assembly approved for high hazard situations involving potential back pressure. Question 4. What is the first step a tester should take before beginning the physical test of a backflow assembly? Option A, close the number 1 shutoff valve. Option B, notify the customer that the water will be turned off. Option C, flush the test cocks. Option D, record the serial number. The correct answer is option B, notify the customer that the water will be turned off. Testers must always notify the customer or property owner before disrupting the water supply. Question 5. In a reduced pressure principal assembly, RP, what is the primary purpose of the relief valve? Option A, to increase downstream pressure. Option B, to maintain a zone of pressure that is at least 2 psi lower than the supply pressure. Option C, to act as a secondary check valve. Option D, to drain the pipes for winter. The correct answer is option B, to maintain a zone of pressure that is at least 2 psi lower than the supply pressure. The relief valve maintains reduced pressure zone between the two check valves, ensuring that if a check fails, water escapes to the atmosphere rather than flowing backward. Question 6. Which of the following describes a non-health hazard pollution? Option A, substances that cause illness or death. Option B, substances that affect the aesthetic quality of water, taste, color, odor, but are not a health threat. Option C, water containing sewage. Option D, water containing arsenic. The correct answer is option B, substances that affect the aesthetic quality of water, taste, color, odor, but are not a health threat. A non-health hazard, polluter, is technically non-toxic but undesirable in the potable water system. Question 7. What is the minimum height a pressure vacuum breaker, PVB, must be installed above the highest downstream piping or outlet? Option A, 6 inches. Option B, 12 inches. Option C, 24 inches. Option D, 36 inches. The correct answer is option B, 12 inches. PVBs must be installed at least 12 inches above the highest point of use to ensure the air inlet valve functions correctly under gravity. Question 8. A double-check valve assembly DC is approved for which of the following conditions? Option A, high hazard / back siphonage only. Option B, high hazard / back pressure. Option C, low hazard, non-health / back pressure or back siphonage. Option D, any hazardous connection. The correct answer is option C, low hazard, non-health / back pressure or back siphonage. The DC is only permitted for low hazard, pollution, applications because it does not have an atmospheric port to detect check valve failure. Question 9. During an RP test, if the relief valve spits or opens during the Step 2 test of the second check valve, what is the likely cause? Option A, check valve number 1 is leaking. Option B, check valve number 2 is leaking with back pressure applied. Option C, The shutoff valve number 2 is leaking. Option D. The gauge is broken. The correct answer is option B. Check valve number 2 is leaking with back pressure applied. If back pressure is applied and the relief valve opens, it usually indicates that check valve number 2 is failing to hold the back pressure. Question 10. How much pressure is exerted by a column of water that is 10 feet high? Option A, 4.33 psi. Option B, 2.31 psi. Option C, 10.0 psi. Option D, 1.0 psi. The correct answer is option A, 4.33 psi. 1 foot of water column equals 0.433 psi. 10x 0.433 equals 4.33 psi. Question 11. Which assembly contains one independently acting check valve, an internally loaded air inlet valve, and two shutoff valves? Option A DC. Option B FRP. Option C PVB. Option D SVB. The correct answer is option C, PVB. The PVB, pressure vacuum breaker, is defined by these components and is designed for back-siphonage only. Question 12. A spill-resistant vacuum breaker SVB is primarily used to: Option A, stop high-pressure steam. Option B, prevent water damage by minimizing spitting during startup and indoor applications. Option C, increase water flow. Option D, filter the water. The correct answer is option B, prevent water damage by minimizing spitting during startup and indoor applications. SVBs are designed for indoor use where the small amount of water discharged by a standard PVB would be problematic. Question 13. If the relief valve of an RP assembly opens when the number 2 shutoff valve is closed and there is no flow, what does this indicate? Option A, a normal condition. Option B, the number 1 check valve is leaking, fouled. Option C, the system pressure is too high. Option D, the water is cold. The correct answer is option B, the number 1 check valve is leaking, fouled. If check valve number 1 leaks, the pressure in the zone rises. When it gets within 2 psi of the supply pressure, the relief valve opens to discharge the leaking water. Question 14. What tool is required to perform a field test on a backflow prevention assembly? Option A, a thermometer. Option B, a differential pressure gauge, 3-valve or 5-valve. Option C, a pipe wrench. Option D, a flow meter. The correct answer is option B, a differential pressure gauge, 3-valve or 5-valve. The differential pressure gauge measures the pressure drop across check valves and the relief valve opening point. Question 15. What is the minimum loaded value required for the air inlet valve of a PVB to pass a test? Option A is 0.5 psi. Option B 1.0 psi. Option C 2.0 psi. Option D 5.0 psi. The correct answer is option B, 1.0 psi. The air inlet valve must open when the pressure in the body drops to at least 1.0 psi above atmospheric pressure. Question 16. True or false, an atmospheric vacuum breaker, AVB, can be subjected to continuous pressure for more than 12 hours. Option A, true. Option B, false. The correct answers are options F and A and E, true. AVBs are non-pressure vacuum breakers and must not be under continuous pressure, otherwise, the internal float may stick and fail to open. Question 17. Which of the following is a direct cross-connection? Option A, a hose submerged in a bucket. Option B, a physical link between a potable system and a non-potable system that can be switched on like a bypass. Option C, a sink with an air gap. Option D, a toilet tank. The correct answer is option B, a physical link between a potable system and a non-potable system that can be switched on like a bypass. Direct connections are permanent or potential links that allow flow between two systems under any pressure condition. Question 18. Why must test cocks be flushed before attaching the test gauge? Option A, to increase the pressure. Option B, to remove dirt and debris that could damage the gauge or cause a false reading. Option C, to check the water temperature. Option D, to make sure the valves aren't stuck. The correct answer is option B, to remove dirt and debris that could damage the gauge or cause a false reading. Debris in the lines is a common cause of gauge failure and inaccurate test results. Question 19. In a DC assembly, what is the minimum required pressure drop across each check valve to pass the test? Option A is 0.5 psi. Option B 1.0 psi. Option C 2.0 psi. Option D 5.0 psi. The correct answer is option B, 1.0 psi. Both check valves in a DC must be tight against back pressure and maintain at least 1.0 SID. Question 20. A bypass around a backflow preventer. Option A is allowed if it's a small pipe. Option B must also be equipped with an equal level of backflow protection. Option C is recommended for maintenance. Option D is never allowed. The correct answer is option B, must also be equipped with an equal level of backflow protection. If a bypass is installed to allow continuous service during testing, it must have its own approved backflow assembly. Question 21. What is hydrostatic pressure? Option A, the pressure of water in motion. Option B, the pressure exerted by water at rest. Option C, the pressure of steam. Option D, the weight of the pipe. The correct answer is option B, the pressure exerted by water at rest. Hydrostatic pressure is the pressure caused by the weight of water due to elevation, head. Question 22. Which of the following would be considered a high-hazard health application? Option A, an irrigation system with a chemical injector. Option B, a decorative fountain with no chemicals. Option C, a residential fire sprinkler system, no antifreeze. Option D, a commercial kitchen sink. The correct answer is option A, an irrigation system with a chemical injector. The use of chemicals, fertilizers/pesticides, in a system makes it a high-hazard health risk. Question 23. What is water hammer? Option A, a tool for fixing pipes. Option B, a pressure surge caused when water in motion is forced to stop or change direction suddenly. Option C, a type of pump. Option D, low water pressure. The correct answer is option B, a pressure surge caused when water in motion is forced to stop or change direction suddenly. Water hammer can damage backflow assemblies and cause internal components to fail. Question 24. When testing a PDB, the number 2 shutoff valve must be option A open, option B closed, option C partially open, option D removed. The correct answer is option B, closed. The number 2 shutoff must be closed to create a static condition for measuring the opening point of the air inlet in the check valve. Question 25. What does SID stand for in backflow testing? Option A pounds per square inch downward. Option B pounds per square inch differential. Option C pounds per square inch density. Option D pressure system internal data. The correct answer is option B, pounds per square inch differential. Differential pressure, SID, is the difference between two pressure points, e.g. before and after a check valve. Question 26. If you are testing an RP and the zone pressure is the same as the supply pressure, check valve number 1 is option A closed tight, option B leaking or fouled, option C working perfectly, option D too small. The correct answer is option B, leaking or fouled. A functioning check valve number 1 must create a drop in pressure. If the pressures are equal, the check is not holding. Question 27. Which component of an RP is designed to protect against back-siphonage? Option A check valve number 1 only. Option B check valve number 2 only. Option C the relief valve in both checks. Option D the shut-off valves. The correct answer is option C, the relief valve in both checks. The combination of the air inlet, relief valve, and the check valves provides protection against both types of backflow. Question 28. Where should an AVB be installed in relation to the equipment it serves? Option A below the equipment. Option B at least 6 inches above the highest point of the equipment or downstream piping. Option C, a 12 inches below the flood rim. Option D, inside the tank. The correct answer is option B, at least 6 inches above the highest point of the equipment or downstream piping. Because it is an atmospheric breaker, it must be the highest point in the system it protects. Question 29. What is a critical level C/L mark on an assembly? Option A, the maximum pressure rating. Option B, a reference point on a vacuum breaker that must be used to determine the minimum installation height. Option C, the date it was made. Option D, the inspector's initials. The correct answer is option B, a reference point on a vacuum breaker that must be used to determine the minimum installation height. The C/L mark is the point from which the 6-inch AVB or 12-inch PVB elevation is measured. Question 30. A tester finds the number 2 shutoff valve of a DC assembly is leaking. How does this affect the test? Option A, it doesn't affect it. Option B, it makes it impossible to accurately test the check valves for tightness because of backflow/flowby. Option C, it makes the test faster. Option D, it increases the pressure. The correct answer is option B. It makes it impossible to accurately test the check valves for tightness because of backflow/flowby. Leaking shutoffs prevent the tester from isolating the assembly to see if the internal checks are holding. Question 31. What is atmospheric pressure at sea level? Option A is 0 psi. Option B, 14.7 psi. Option C, 100 psi. Option D, 2.31 psi. The correct answer is option B, 14.7 psi. Standard atmospheric pressure is approximate 14.7 psi, which is used as the reference point for vacuum breakers. Question 32. Which of the following will cause back pressure? Option A, a water main break. Option B, a downstream pump, a boiler, or an elevated tank. Option C, a high velocity leak. Option D, turning off the main valve. The correct answer is option B, a downstream pump, a boiler, or an elevated tank. Back pressure occurs when the pressure downstream exceeds the supply pressure. Question 33. The disc in a check valve is usually made of what material to ensure a drip-tight seal? Option A is stainless steel. Option B, brass. Option C, elastomer, rubber/silicone. Option D, a plastic. The correct answer is option C, elastomer, rubber/silicone. Resilient, flexible discs are required to provide a positive seal against low-pressure backflow. Question 34. When field testing, static pressure is measured when? Option A, water is flowing full speed. Option B, the water is not moving, valves are closed. Option C, the pipe is empty. Option D, the pump is on. The correct answer is option B, the water is not moving, valves are closed. Static pressure tests confirm the assembly can hold against backflow when there is no demand. Question 35. The number 2 check valve of an RP is designed to: Option A, open at 2 psi. Option B, protect check valve number 1 from back pressure and maintain the reduced pressure zone. Option C, reduce the flow of water. Option D, filter out sand. The correct answer is option B, protect check valve number 1 from back pressure and maintain the reduced pressure zone. The second check is the last line of defense against backflow into the zone. Question 36. If a backflow assembly is installed in a pit, what is a major concern? Option A, it's too dark to see. Option B, the pit could flood, causing a cross-connection through the test cocks or relief valve. Option C, the water will freeze. Option D, the tester will get lost. The correct answer is option B, the pit could flood, causing a cross-connection through the test cocks or relief valve. RPs should never be installed in pits because the relief valve could become submerged in contaminated water. Question 37. Which assembly is specifically designed to be tested under pressure? Option A, AVB. Option B, PVB. Option C, hose bib vacuum breaker. Option D, none of the above. The correct answer is option B, PVB. Unlike the AVB, the PVB can handle continuous pressure and features test cocks for a gauge. Question 38. What is a submerged inlet? Option A, a type of boat. Option B, an intake or supply pipe that terminates below the flood level rim of a fixture or tank. Option C, a waterproof valve. Option D, a well. The correct answer is option B, an intake or supply pipe that terminates below the flood level rim of a fixture or tank. Submerged inlets are high-risk cross-connections because back-siphonage can pull the tank's contents into the water supply. Question 39. When a tester bleeds the air from their gauge, why is this done? Option A, to cool the gauge. Option B, to ensure there are no air bubbles that would compress and cause inaccurate pressure readings. Option C, to clean the hoses. Option D, to check the water color. The correct answer is option B, to ensure there are no air bubbles that would compress and cause inaccurate pressure readings. Air in the gauge or hoses will lead to bouncing needles and incorrect SID readings. Question 40. In an RP, the relief valve must open at or above what value? Option A is 0.5 SID. Option B 1.0 SID. Option C 2.0 SID. Option D 5.0 SID. The correct answer is option C, 2.0 SID. The relief valve must open and maintain a zone at least 2.0 psi lower than the supply to be compliant. Question 41. If check valve number 2 of a DC is leaking during a back pressure test, the gauge reading will: Option A, stay the same. Option B, a drop towards zero. Option C, increase to supply pressure. Option D, turn red. The correct answer is option B, drop towards zero. If the check doesn't hold, the pressure between the checks will equalize with the downstream pressure, causing the differential to drop. Question 42. What is the potable water system? Option A, the sewer system. Option B, the water system safe for human consumption, drinking water. Option C, the irrigation system. Option D, the industrial water system. The correct answer is option B, the water system safe for human consumption, drinking water. Cross-connection control is entirely about protecting the potable system. Question 43. Which backflow condition is caused by a Venturi effect? Option A, back pressure. Option B, back siphonage. Option C, static pressure. Option D, a friction loss. The correct answer is option B, back siphonage. The Venturi effect occurs when water flows past an opening at high speed, creating a vacuum that can suck in fluids. Question 44. What is the function of the test cocks? Option A, to allow for irrigation. Option B, to provide a connection point for the test gauge to measure internal pressures. Option C, to drain the unit. Option D, to add chemicals. The correct answer is option B, to provide a connection point for the test gauge to measure internal pressures. Standard assemblies have 4 test cocks: 1, before shutoff number 1, 2, after shutoff number 1, 3, before check number 2, 4, after check number 2. Question 45. When can a hose bib vacuum breaker be used? Option A, for high-hazard industrial chemicals. Option B, on a standard outdoor faucet for a garden hose, non-continuous pressure. Option C, for a fire hydrant. Option D, in a kitchen sink. The correct answer is option B, on a standard outdoor faucet for a garden hose, non-continuous pressure. Hose bib vacuum breakers are simple devices for low-hazard garden hose applications. Question 46. A dual-check valve different from a double-check assembly is usually used for: Option A, large commercial buildings. Option B, residential service connections, non-testable. Option C, chemical plants. Option D, nuclear reactors. The correct answer is option B, residential service connections, non-testable. Dual checks are used by water utilities as a basic, non-testable level of protection for homes. Question 47. Friction loss in a backflow assembly is: Option A, the loss of heat. Option B, The reduction in pressure as water flows through the device due to resistance. Option C. The sound it makes. Option D. The weight of the valves. The correct answer is option B. The reduction in pressure as water flows through the device due to resistance. Designers must account for friction loss to ensure the building has enough water pressure. Question 48. The center of the relief valve must be installed at what minimum height above the floor or grade? Option A, 6 inches. Option B, 12 inches, or per manufacturer/code. Option C, 24 inches. Option D, 36 inches. The correct answer is option B, 12 inches, or per manufacturer/code. To prevent the relief valve from becoming submerged, it must be elevated, usually at least 12 inches. Question 49. If a tester cannot get a drip-tight closure on the number 2 shutoff valve, they should: Option A, guess the result. Option B, report the assembly as failed and require repair/cleaning of the valve. Option C, skip that part of the test. Option D, use a hammer to close it. The correct answer is option B. Report the assembly as failed and require repair/cleaning of the valve. A leaking shutoff valve is a failure of the assembly as a whole because it cannot be properly maintained or tested. Question 50. Which organization maintains the approved list of backflow assemblies for most of the U.S.? Option A, NASA. Option B, USC Foundation for Cross-Connection Control and Hydraulic Research. Option C, FBI. Option D, the Department of Energy. The correct answer is option B, USC Foundation for Cross-Connection Control and Hydraulic Research. The USC Foundation is the leading authority for testing and approving backflow assembly designs. Question 51. A vacuum is defined as: Option A, high pressure. Option B, any pressure less than atmospheric pressure. Option C, water moving at high speed. Option D, a type of cleaning tool. The correct answer is option B, any pressure less than atmospheric pressure. A vacuum in a water line is what creates back-siphonage. Question 52. In a dual diagonal system, testing context, why is symmetry important? Option A, for looks. Option B, to ensure the gauge reads accurately regardless of which side is used. Option C, to balance the weight. Option D, to prevent freezing. The correct answer is option B, to ensure the gauge reads accurately regardless of which side is used. Some test procedures require specific hose configurations to ensure the gauge is correctly zeroed. Question 53. What happens to the relief valve of an RP if the supply pressure drops below the zone pressure? Option A, it stays closed. Option B, it opens fully to maintain the two-side differential, or dump the zone. Option C, it explodes. Option D, it vibrates. The correct answer is option B. It opens fully to maintain the two-side differential, or dump the zone. This sensing ability is what makes the RP safe for high hazards. Question 54. A thermal expansion tank is often needed when a backflow preventer is installed on a water heater because: Option A, the water gets too cold. Option B, the backflow preventer creates a closed system, and heated water has nowhere to expand. Option C, to increase the water temperature. Option D, to stop the water from flowing. The correct answer is option B. The backflow preventer creates a closed system, and heated water has nowhere to expand. Preventing backflow also prevents the expansion of hot water back into the main, requiring an expansion tank for safety. Question 55. Which valve in the assembly is the inlet valve? Option A, shutoff valve number 1. Option B, shutoff valve number 2. Option C, check valve number 1. Option D, check valve number 2. The correct answer is option A, shutoff valve number 1. The number 1 shutoff is the valve that controls water entering the assembly from the supply. Question 56. When using a 5-valve gauge, which valves are used to bleed the hoses? Option A, the needle valves. Option B, the bleed valves, high and low. Option C, the bypass valve. Option D, the vent valve. The correct answer is option B, the bleed valves, high and low. Bleeding removes air to ensure a solid column of water reaches the gauge sensors. Question 57. A PVB is not allowed to be used when which condition is present? Option A, high pressure. Option B, back pressure. Option C, back-siphonage. Option D, cold water. The correct answer is option B, back pressure. PVBs are vacuum breakers, they will fail if water tries to push backward under pressure, back pressure. Question 58. What is a cross connection? Option A, a type of pipe fitting. Option B, any actual or potential connection between a potable water system and any source of contamination. Option C, a road intersection. Option D, a leaky faucet. The correct answer is option B, any actual or potential connection between a potable water system and any source of contamination. The goal of backflow prevention is the elimination or protection of cross connections. Question 59. The loading on a check valve refers to: Option A, the weight of the water. Option B, the spring force that holds the check in the closed position. Option C, the price of the valve. Option D, the amount of dirt in the valve. The correct answer is option B, the spring force that holds the check in the closed position. Spring loading ensures the valve closes even when there is no flow. Question 60. As a certified tester, your responsibility is to: Option A, fix the pipes for free. Option B, accurately test and report the condition of the assembly to the purveyor and owner. Option C, sell new assemblies. Option D, inspect the entire building's plumbing. The correct answer is option B, accurately test and report the condition of the assembly to the purveyor and owner. The tester is an independent verifier of the safety of the backflow prevention device.